my name's Ralph and welcome back to the channel. It's my time, let's go. Today, before we get started, I've been just thinking the other night that I'd like to try and fabricate something up. And what I want to do is make something so I can lap that inside hole. Now I know I can put this in a vise and put this down in there pretty central. And you know, it sits in there good and you can use that to lap, and that works very well. But I was thinking, looking at the pictures of the tools are smaller for sure. The caps that go on the oil pump in the check ball region are like this, and they're a small hole in here. Now if you look at the hole in this one, and this one here is for on the engine case itself, right here. That's where this one goes. And usually people have them laying around. I don't throw anything out, so I have them laying around. And because they're putting in like an oil pressure gauge there on a shovel head, you would put in that spot. Various different reasons. But what I'm thinking, I've measured this out and I'm very, very close. The push rods are the same size, and they're, give me 0.372 here, but you know, 375 for all intents and purposes is 3/8. And my hole is 343. So I've got to take about 30 thousandths of an inch off the inside of it in order to make it that size. Now I may be able to drill it, and I'm going to try to put it on the lathe and drill a hole in it and see. I'll probably put 23/64 first through it, step drill it a little bit, and just see how thin my wall's getting. And hopefully I'll be able to drill that through. Then I can screw this into the pump and put my rod right straight through it. So let's step over to the lathe and see what's going to happen. It may take too much off and the thread will fall apart, but I think if I'm very careful with it, I should be able to use it. Let's go. So here we are. We're just going to mount it in the chuck here. Let's just see. See if we can get a 30-second out of it. I don't think there's going to be enough left there, but we'll try it. You never know till you try. Well, that looks pretty stout. That looks like it's going to work just fine. And keep it fairly centered. A lot more centered than just trying to hold it with your hand. Stick that in and give that a little rub with the file. But there's what we got, hole in the top. And we got enough wall in there still. It's fairly solid. Now I'll take this old rod and we'll just give it a little touch with the file. Seem to be swelled up a little bit at the top. And that should slide over that. Whether it's that or the edge of the cap that's catching. Almost thinking it's the it's burrs in the cap there. So we're just going to follow that a little bit. I'm just going to give it a touch on the cap here. Here we go. So we just had a burr in the top of the cap there. All right. Just want to take a moment and talk to my buddy down south, Hippie, at Hippie's Chopper Corner. If you haven't seen his channel, please do check him out. Well, Hippie put a challenge out to me last week and said I sent him some stickers, and he said, Hey Ralph, see if you can find the stickers around my shop. Well, I looked around and just to fulfill a challenge, Hip. I seen one on the window, seen one on the toolbox, and you put one on the fridge. That's 3. So these old eyes managed to find that down there, and I will get even with you somehow. And I see you out riding your bike down there. Well, we're like 24 or below with the wind chill up here, so I guess that's about -11 to you guys down there, with more snow on the way. So winter's here, and we're used to it, but we won't be out riding in it, that's for sure. All right, so what I've got here is an old pump, and this one wasn't much good. As you can see, the pin that I was speaking about before is gone out of here. It was loose in the pump, so it was out, so this pump was ruined. So we're going to try this one just to give you an idea of what's going on. So we just put our pump in the vise here. I'm just going to put a little shot of oil on the push rod tube right here, just so that it'll slide through there nicely. So we got a little oil on it, and we're just going to slide our knob on. See if I can get a shot, usually through here, a little bit of light. It's this tower that we're speaking about, and if you look down in there, you'll see the round sort of satin colored seat in there, and that's what we're trying to fix. It will work as an example. Just put that in here. Just screw that down in there. There we go. I think we're at the bottom. And I'm going to take a little touch of lapping compound on there. Put one around the sides. We just want it on the ball. Too much on the sides. I'm going to try it a different way because I don't think that way will work well for us. So we can't have any compound on the rod, as it's got to slide through here with a nice fit. And right now, we got compound in it. There we go. Make sure that it's nice and free. There we go. And we'll just dip the end of it in some compound here. Put it down in there, and then we'll screw it in. A little downward pressure. Okay. You never know till you try something. This will definitely help it keep it in a straight line. Oh yes, definitely covered in lapping compound down there. Just blow that out. We're just too tight of a fit there. Any compound on the on there on that nut. Make sure that there's nothing in there. There we go. It's got to be very clean there. Very, very clean. Sprayed this part out as well. Screw it in. And now you can see in there that we've got a nice satin seat in there all around. That's about what we're looking for. So it might not be perfect, but it certainly does lap the bottom of that seat area. The pump would have to be washed out thoroughly again, because the lapping compound in there can play havoc with everything. But I think because of where I'm at with Margaret's, I think that I'm going to do it. I'm just going to disassemble the little bit that I got together and take it and lap it as well in there and see if I can get a little nicer seat out of it. All right, so I'm just going to put a little Scott towel in there and in around my seal. I think I can get this done without, because the hole just goes through here and down into this cavity here, through the top and into this cavity, so it should be fine. And we'll spray this down. Make sure there's no compound on it. Nope. Have a compound on it. Sticks on, you just lift the push rod up a little bit. Now there's something else I could do with my small vice grips. Just get that on there, except for the up a little higher. Get up, move it around. There we go. That worked good. Make sure you spray your threads too. That out. And if you can see right down in the bottom, we've got a nice satin seat in there. No burns or anything like that, any kind of marks. Yeah, nice job to it there. Quite pleased with that. So, just your little plug there out of the top of the motor, drill it out 3/8. And make sure to keep it very clean. That's the trick of keeping this shaft very clean and just getting the compound down on the end so that this will work nice for you. It's not perfect, but it does line me up in the center and I feel a little better about that. And now I've gone over it and fixed that valve, or the ball seat area. I'll probably put that down in there. Once again, drop the old ball down in there. I don't think this is the right size, nope. Just get that in the center of the ball there. Nice looking seat in there. I'm really pleased with that, and I'm glad I took the extra time to do it. For a little bit of time, it's a problem with these, always leaking past the check ball. So hopefully by doing that, it saved it. So I'm gonna go along and wash this out with hot soapy water and blow it out a couple times. Make sure there's no compound into it before we get back to it. All right, let's take a moment, put a little shout out to my buddy Slick down there too. I see he's been playing with all of his machines, and he's helping Moto Nick Jersey, I think it is. Moto Nick Jersey? I guess it's Jersey Nick Moto. I never seem to get the names right, but I believe that's what it is. You'll see him on Slick's site as they're working on his bike, and you can check him out on his site as well. Slick, you certainly got a plate full, and I can tell you, with all the bikes you got, you better build yourself a big building. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you have the patience. It reminds me of the old days when I didn't have the outer shop and I had to drag bikes in and out every day before I even started work, and it got to be pretty frustrating. But I know you'll work around it. All right, Slick, keep at it. So now that we've got that done, we'll get back to our regular programming here. Some oil in here. Get your plunger back in. We'll just put a little bit of thread locker in there. A little on this. Importantly, because this is the side one. So for the extra couple minutes that it took to lap it, I got thinking about it last night. Again, I'm my own worst enemy when I keep thinking about things. And I thought, well, while the pump's all the way apart, even though it didn't look bad, how could it hurt to lap that and just try to, you know, fix some of the problems that are inherently there. There we go. A little oil down in the seat area. Ball, spring, cap. This one's got an O-ring on it, so it'll seal up good. Let's see where we were at. We've got that, and we've got that. We've got our little tool there to tighten those up when I get it over there. I just give myself a little thought here as to where I want to go. Oh yeah, okay. First we were trying to get the key and the clip on it onto our new gear here. And we've got to put our oil pump drive gear in there. Something has found that up already, which is unusual, very unusual. Something's odd with that shaft. So when I went to fit my gears in, I found that this gear to go on the shaft was binding up on the shaft, and it actually should be a freely rotating gear. Under close examination, I found that the end of this, actually the very end of it, was quite corroded. That was sticking out in the water, in the rust, and had corroded the end of it off, and it's not really nice there. It's hard to tell by looking at that, but it's not very nice for the ring groove, the lock ring to fit in. So I've dug through my stuff, and I've got another nice shaft here that I can use for that, that I'd rather use for that, and I'm going to use for that. Now this can be a bit of a tedious task getting this in here, so bear with me. Sometimes it goes easy, sometimes it doesn't. Get that little clip in there. And there's just no way to get my fat fingers in there to hold it enough. There we go. Okay. Key in a little farther. Just trying to show you that this gear here is what we're working on. It's got a little keyway in it and then a little clip that goes on the end of the shaft once it's in there. And there's no easy way to get at it. Very close, that one. There. Okay, I'm going to take our little C-clip. We don't want to bend the C-clip any more than we have to. We want just enough to get it on there. It's hard to find that spot where you're not spreading it too much. Just enough to get it on there. Here we are. If you can see that gear, there's a little C-clip on the very end of the shaft. And the key is in this gear, and this is your drive gear. So, our pump will go on this way. And we just want to slide it in once because it's going to catch on the lip of this oil seal if you try to pull it out. So we don't want that to happen. So, we'll get our gears, and as I marked them with yellow, we want the gears facing out on these. The deep ones are going in the back and the shallow ones are in the front. So that means that I want to take this gear face and I'm just going to knock the yellow off it now. Small key in there. There we go. There like that. Put the other one in our gear body on here. A little bit of oil on that shaft. Just a drip. Take our inside gasket. And we should check our gasket. This is 68 to 80. Make sure that all our holes are lining up on there, no problem. All our oil holes where they're supposed to be. Fortunately, I have the studs in here, which helps keep things in line. Take your time going over those threads. We'll hold the end of the shaft here because it will want to push out the other way. I'm also going to put a little bit of gear lube right on the end of this shaft. Just to help it slip through the seal. All right. Put in the end of it. Line up. Sometimes it's easier if I move that gear out just a little bit, a tiny bit, not off the key by any means, but just out a little bit, and then I can turn it to help mesh with the other gear. Now, getting this little guy in here, this little key in there, can be a trick as well in trying to get the gear on. But we'll try. Myself a little light there, easier to see. Is it me or is it just Fridays? It's Fridays, I think. Oh. Now, keeping it in there while we slide the gear on is the trick. Slightly bit. That's the way it should be there. Now, getting this little clip on. Can also be a trick and either go easy or go hard. So getting this tiny little clip on now, this little C-clip is going to go right on the end of this shaft. And what I usually do is stick a screwdriver down through here to hold the shaft. And I just wedge that in there so that the shaft cannot push through. So when I put pressure on this, I'm able to push on it a little bit and try to get that shaft on there. It sort of enables you to give you a starting point with this. One to hold it, one to spread it. So try to get that side started in there. You start it down in the groove at the top and then kind of hold it in with a clip here and try to apply pressure downward. Get started in the groove. Once it's in the groove halfway around, you can generally just pop it. Not quite. Just one little piece. There we go. She's snug, but she's locked in there all around. And you should be able to move it. Sometimes it just takes a little patience. There we go. All right. Now we're going to put our other gear in it. Scrape the paint off there. We've got it there now. Put a little bit of assembly lube on the shaft there. And there we go. I can put a little oil on the threads. You're not supposed to put anything on these, and you're going to torque them, so the oil helps with that. Oh, and I forgot to put my little nuts in here. Got to get them in there before the outer body goes on, actually. Tight a little bit on those nuts. I will put some on. Their exterior nuts are not into the case, and there's studs on there. Forgot to put them on, you'd have to take the outside off again, so this is where it pays to have checked all your studs to make sure that they're in there nice. This is the time when you start putting them in. If you had any kind of grit in there or anything, it'd be a real pain. Snug them up, not tight, because I'm going to want to be able to move the pump around, and as I tighten them, keep turning the gear as I did before. But I want to make sure that I've got the ability to move the pump a little bit. In once there. We're locked up. Something not right. Be a little piece of gasket. Just gonna snug the back up here. Just a little bit. Not tightening it, but just pulling the pump body up to the pump. Feels like something's almost hitting on something in there. She's locking right up. She's not gonna agree with me today. Cap, or it does feel like it's in the cap, it's not in the back body. Alright, I'm gonna have to examine a little farther and see what's happening there, because the pump is locking up there on me for some reason, and it shouldn't be. These loose, and that's loose. We need to move it around a little bit. So we finally got it in place there, just by tapping the body around and making sure that we weren't getting any binding. Probably just oil in there that maybe, I think the assembly lube was a little thick. And we go 90 to 100 pounds, so. Tighten them up evenly as you go. If you put too much pressure on one side, then it kind of cocks it this way. So you just got to be very even with those 4 bolts as you tighten them up. All right, there we go. It can be frustrating, but you just tap the body around, move the pump around where it wants to go, and then we'll tighten up the top ones here, of course. If you tighten these top ones first, and then you try to do it, it won't happen for you. You'll just get more grief. As you can see, our wheel's just turning great in there, so you just want this little wheel here so that we can easily spin it with your fingers. Just like that. Okay. We'll pop on. So if you enjoyed this video today and found it interesting on how to make yourself a little tool, it's an invaluable thing to have, and I'm sure you'll all find use for it. Subscribe, like, comment, ring the bell, do those kind of things. That helps us to grow. Stick around for next week, as we're going to keep plugging ahead on Margaret, and I've got a plate full of stuff to do, but we're going to bring it as we go as much as we can. So we'll see you next week.